most distinguishing feature on this ride is the interlocking loops. This is the only ride in the world left that has interlocking loops. This is also the most photographed ride in the world. Because of the great setting that we have here, the Italy Bridge down there is really the most popular place to take pictures. So you'll be able to see that later when you walk through the park. There are some unique things about this ride and things that distinguish it from this ride compared to Griffon and Alpengeist. One of the biggest ones is the way this track was made. This was actually handmade, and those were made by computers with laser guided. One of the other differences is these track pieces you can see are actually welded together. They're not bolted together. So if you look on the ribs of the track, you can see that everything's welded together. If you look at those at these two rides at Alpengeist and at Griffon, you'll see huge steel bolts. All these tracks come to us in a bunch of pieces. Those are just bolted together. These were welded together. One of the other unique things about this ride that not a lot of people know is this last turn here. When it came to the park, it was actually bent to the left, which was a problem because the train would have ended up in the river. So they actually bent it on site and moved it so that it could bend to the right. Also, that's one of the other unique things about this ride. This ride, the lift is 130 feet from there to the river, and the drop is 114 feet and 2 inches. Is there anything else that you have to add? One of the other things, too, that we really like to talk about, especially with this ride, is the scenery that we have in this park. When we're building rides, we not only look at what type of ride we want, but how we can use the land that we have here. This is a beautiful park. This has been voted the most beautiful theme park in the world 18 years in a row. So we want to use that when we build our rides, which is why you can see we use the river here. We use this great setting to be able to come down here and see this ride as well. So, are there any questions? There's some other things we're going to talk about too, but any questions about Loch Ness at all? One of the other things you can notice from the track, we'll talk about this more when we go into the maintenance bay too, is that each train has 3 sets of wheels. The unique thing about this ride is the only one in our park where one of the sets of wheels actually rides on the inside of the track. One set of wheels rides on the top, one set of wheels is on the inside, and one set of wheels is on the bottom. The difference is with these 2 rides and all the other rides in our park, the wheels ride on the top, on the outside, and on the bottom. So it'll be easier to see when we go into the maintenance bay. We'll show you that too. Do you have anything else to add down here, Zach? I'm trying to think.
Are there any questions?
Anything else? Yeah. Any questions at all while we're down here?
Anybody know how long the track is?
That's harder to guess than how
3,200 something.
Very close.
Yeah, you're really close.
3,240 feet. Like Josh said, the track came in and was turned the wrong way. It was about 6 feet off. So they actually brought the track down to the ground, they heated it up and bent it into place. Everything here was handmade. Everything here was designed with slide rules. There weren't a lot of computers around in the 70s that were powerful enough to do things like this. Everything on the B&Ms, the newer coasters, was computer designed. So that's one of the main differences between the two, as well as a lot of advances in technology. We're constantly upgrading even our older coasters here at the park. We'll talk about one major upgrade here at Loch Ness when we go up the hill.
Who's this made by?
Aerodynamics. They actually went through 3 different names: Aerodynamics, Aero Development, and Aero Hus. We actually at the time, we had 3 rides from them, and each one was made by a different name. Aero Development was this one, I believe, and Aerodynamics was Wolf. One thing we didn't mention. This ride in Wolf was designed by the same people that designed the original steel coaster back in 1950 ride. So that's kind of interesting. We also had other Busch parks before, Busch Gardens Tampa. None of them contained rides. They were strictly gardens. They were built by August Busch II. One of them was in Pasadena, California. So we had 2 other parks before that, but they weren't open to the public. They were just strictly gardens. And distinguished guests were allowed to come to those parks. Tampa's the first park that we actually allowed the public to come into, and it was free admission when it opened. Any other questions? All right, let's head up the hill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, everybody, this is John.
Hello.
One of our maintenance guys who works on Loch Ness, and he'll be able to tell you anything you want to know about maintenance. I'm just going to start with a few different things, and then if you have more questions, you can either ask me, Zach, Ryan, or John would be happy to help too. So this is the maintenance bay in Loch Ness. You can see there's two separate tracks down here. This, you know it doesn't look like it, is a roller coaster train, or at least part of one. What it is this ride, we actually have 4 trains, but we can only run 3 at one time. So we always have one that's out for maintenance that maintenance is working on. So that's what this is. One of the things that I definitely wanted to show you when we came down here is the different wheels that I was talking about on the track. So you can come closer. This is a good example of 2 different kinds of wheels and what maintenance does and how we know if there's wear on a wheel or not. These 2 wheels are the same thing. These are both road wheels, and they actually run on top of the track like this. These would be up here on top of the track. So you can see this is completely flat. This surface is flat. This wheel is obviously been worn down. So maintenance would be able to know that we need to replace. This is a measuring device used for the wheels. This is the wrong size for this one, but if this can fit around here, that means this is a bad wheel. So it's worn down too far, we need to get a new one. This one, you can see it's used, but it still fits. So this wheel is still okay. One of the big differences that you'll see when we go to the B&M rides, when we go to Griffin next, the wheels already on Griffin are concave like this. They come like that. These wheels come flat. So, and then these wheels, are these upstop or? Yeah, guide wheels. The guide wheels, they actually go on the inside of the track. So they would go right here. This is the only ride in the park where they ride on the inside. All the other ones, right out here. The upstop wheels, yeah, the upstop wheel out here. Same size, yeah. The upstop wheel will go right here. This rides under the track, make sure the train doesn't fall. And then one of the other things I wanted to mention to you too is about the chain. When the chain goes up the lift, how it grabs the chain. This is called a chain dog. To make sure that the chain, that it pulls up the train, pulls the train up the hill. This is what latches onto it. This is an anti-rollback mechanism. This makes sure that if the train stops on the lift for some reason, if you see when we go back out there, you can actually look on the lift, there's a bunch of teeth going up the lift. This catches it. So if the lift stops, the train will stop. Any questions about the wheels or the chains or anything? I know you guys have stuff to add. So do you guys have stuff to add on anything?
Have some of these been changed over the years to make it wider?
Just that little green pad right here on the bottom. This is what actually runs on the steel call, on the teeth. Just wear it out throughout the week. Yeah, and we take a beating as they go on. Yeah, it's a different kind of plastic. They came up with it. But it's still a little noisy going up.
When you see the new ones, they're quieter.
Yeah.
Just a whole lot, just the motion of the car is quieter.
Well, then again, a lot of the newer ones, it's about half the size. It's just more metal. I mean, that's pretty heavy chunk of steel right there. That's going up and down.
We like that. We have it.
So yeah, they made them a lot smaller and just a whole lot more on the trains. We only run 2, but they're big and heavy.
How frequently do you have to change the road wheels?
Road wheels? Our road wheels are pretty good. We don't change them a whole lot very often, only when we get a discoloration and they blow out the sides. But I mean, other than that, the last one, we got someone here from 06 still. Still wouldn't really take a beating at our inside wheels, our guide wheels, because our track and our coaster runs not tight. I mean, when you get to Griffin, you'll see how close their wheels run to their track.
Yep.
Ours are actually move as the train goes around the thing, so these are constantly taking a beating.
Yeah.
So these, your measuring gauge here, just check them like that. So it goes over the top, all the way down, that's pretty much a bad wheel.
How long does it take to change them?
About 6 minutes.
Okay.
It's just a carb fan and a bearing. Pops down.
I was going to ask, because this is old, how was it originally controlled before there were PLCs? How did you control the ride?
There was a very primitive form of fertilize. As far as the computer system itself, a lot of the ride was controlled by the optical. We actually had 2 levers that we pulled down for the brakes. We pull them down and shut the brakes. Pull them up and open the brakes. And if the train parked too far in the station, that train had to go around again. So some people got to ride twice. But until we had PLCs and prop switches and things like that, we had a very primitive form of fertilize. That's how they operated the early train. Now we have locks and things like that. One funny story about this ride. When the train comes by, it blows its whistle. And when this ride was first built, the train came by, blew its whistle, and clogged up the fertilizer, which shut the ride down. So they had to actually come up and develop a way, or a different way of placing that fertilizer.
Did you say the clogged up?
This ride originally had 4 trains before it opened. They actually ran 4 trains at the same time. And
What?
the manufacturer determined that was way too much. They were actually shorter trains. There were 6-coach trains. We have 7-coach trains now. So they determined to make the train a little bit longer and to actually make one of the trains longer. The train behind you here actually came from Tampa. We had a ride similar down in Tampa called Python.
How many blocks are on the ride?
How many blocks?
Yeah.
There's 4 out on the track. Let me know the station block.
So can the computer handle 4 if it has to? Yeah.
It's just a matter of us loading and unloading.
Yeah.
The computer system, the way it's set up now, it would be very difficult. Before, when they were testing with 4 trains, they actually had 2 trains on the first lift at the same time. One at the top and one at the bottom. And nowadays, with PLCs and things like that, our system wouldn't allow that.
Yeah.
And with the brakes.
We actually only have 1 set of brakes behind the station here. Typically, coasters have 2. They run 3 trains. So we have to actually constantly be moving trains here, otherwise the ride just sets itself up. So that's why you see everybody hustling here. We hustle on our other rides too, but here especially, we have to move trains on the ride. Any other questions? So
How do you determine how do you feel how many trains you're going to put on for a day, depending on how busy or if they're ready?
They go by prediction on what they predict, and it's also what the operations and
So how many would you start with, like today? 3?
Today we'll start with 3.
Yeah.
Mainly on Saturdays and Sundays right now, but we get more into the heat of the summer, more of the tour system, season, then we'll start on the 3 trains every day.
Okay.
If we're protecting a lot of people and it's raining, this ride can only run 2 trains in the rain from its manufacturer, so we'll only be running 2 trains. If it's a great day like today, we're projecting something small, we're going to go ahead and put the 3rd train on because we know that we're producing what we're projecting. And then some days it's just kind of random. It may be kind of a dark, gloomy day, and we may need to slam, and we'll make the determination to put it on. So it really depends on the ground flow. And if we think we're going to go a line, we'll go ahead and put it on.
Who makes the decision if they throw the 3rd train on midday?
Operations.
So you'll get a call in from somebody else to throw the 3rd train on?
I'm actually an area supervisor in one of the areas. I can make the determination myself. It has to go through management, but
So right around lunchtime, when we get our food, never fails, 12 o'clock.
I try not to do that. Well, I'm not over here anymore, so I can't control lockdowns, but I try to keep that in mind. If we're going to put it on, I'll put it before the lunch. Any other questions?
Wow, get out. That's a cool look.
It scares people too when the train's not there and you stick your head up.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, just keep on coming around. Yeah. So we got the chain doggers on your right side, rollbacks on your left. We do a complete green tag in the morning when we do our inspections. So we check it right before the park opens.